Welcome friends, I'm Katrina with Homegrown Florida, and today we are going to talk about what you can grow in your April Florida garden. And it's about to get interesting because April is the start of our very hot season crops. Yeah, you heard me right. Cold season crops are long gone and the warm season crops that everyone loves is officially behind us. Now we have our summer crops that love the heat and the humidity. I also thought it would be fun to show you what I received in my Urban Harvest quarterly seed shipment that is designed just for Florida gardens. If you're interested in signing up for the seed club through the Urban Harvest, I'll add a link in the description below and I'll put the website up on the screen right here. I've been in this club for a couple years now and it has really opened my eyes to Florida specific vegetables. Very diverse tropical varieties, and the cool thing is that you can save the seeds from them to grow year over year. Before we jump into that though, let's quickly go over what to grow this month. Also, at the end of this video, I'll be doing my monthly seed giveaway, so don't miss out on that. I'm located in the west central portion of Florida, Zone 9A. If you're north of me, you will be about a month behind me since your temperatures are going to stay on the cooler side just a little bit longer. And if you're south of me, you guys are already feeling the summer weather. So if you are in North Florida, you may still be able to get away with planting some warm weather crops or at least pick up some transplants. But for those of us in Central and South Florida, those veggies are way behind us now. However, you can start a bunch of tropicals, things like amaranth, which I love to use for a grain, as well as the leaves as a summer lettuce. Lots of different kinds of beans. I love to grow dry beans during the summer. It helps with the nitrogen in the soil as well as gives you a food crop that is super easy to preserve. Then there's corn, of course. You're going to want to start to be careful as the corn gets into the summer months because you do get earworms from corn and it can take out your corn crop. Cowpeas are another really great thing to grow during the summer. They grow like crazy, they love the heat, and cowpeas are once again a nitrogen fixer. Eggplant's another one that you can start during the summer, as well as some cool stuff like ginger. I don't know if you've tried that before, but if you haven't gotten into ginger, that is a must-have one to try down here in Florida. Next up is loofah. Loofah is a gourd, kind of like a summer squash, and if you pick the fruit while it's young, you can actually eat it like zucchini. Or you can let it completely dry on the plant and get a loofah that you can use, which is a sponge that you can use in your kitchen and your bathroom. Another super fun, sun-loving, humid-loving plant is okra. Okra is amazing. Now, I was never a fan of it before I grew it in my garden. Something about eating it raw from the garden is so good. Next up on the list, a fruit, papaya. Yes, guys, get those papaya. I guess they're trees. They look like trees. I'm not sure 100% if they're considered trees or not, but they get very tall, they get very big, and they produce great fruit. You can also start peanuts, which is great for your soil structure. Peppers are always a go-to, especially hot peppers. Hot peppers love hot weather. Pineapple's another really cool one to start, and you start pineapples actually from the tops of pineapples that you can grow in the store. And of course, you can buy them at nurseries. Roselle, guys, if you're not growing roselle, you really need to be growing it. Roselle is one of my favorite. It is called the Florida cranberry, and that's because it gives off a cranberry taste. And another bonus, it is ready to harvest right before Thanksgiving. Perfect. Another one that'll be ready to harvest right before Thanksgiving is sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes are amazing to grow down here, helping with soil structure, covering as a cover crop. They use it in lots of different food forests as the canopy below. It is an amazing crop to grow here in Florida because we have such long, warm weather. Believe it or not, Swiss chard actually doesn't mind the heat that much. I think I have grown a perennial Swiss chard over here because it has gone year over year and it just continues to produce, and as it warms up, it produces even better. The next two are going to be tropical varieties. Tropical spinach for one. Those are things like Malabar, Okinawa, Perpetual, Longevity, New Zealand, Ethiopian, CCO. And then there's tropical squashes. These are things like your Seminole pumpkins, your tahini melon squash, And there's several others that I can't remember right at this moment that actually don't mind growing in our heat and humidity. Now, I know summer gardening isn't for everyone, but I want to challenge you to try at least one of these plants this summer. But I want you to neglect them. I mean, seriously neglect these plants. Direct seed them, so it's easy. Water them in a bit until they get germinated and start growing. Then once the summer rains start, ignore them completely. Let the rain water them. Let the bugs eat them. Don't care about that. Don't fertilize them. Really just let them go wild. I'm going to be doing the same thing, and I'm going to add pictures on Instagram and Facebook with the hashtag Florida Summer Garden, so you guys can see my progress along this summer journey. I hope you'll join me and do the same. It's going to be a fun little experiment. Some things might die, but a lot of things will probably grow just fine with no help from us. With a little luck and a lot of neglect, we will be harvesting some cool tropical veggies before you know it. If you are going to join me in this challenge, head down in the comments and leave me a message. I'd love to hear what you are planning on growing. Now let's open up our Urban Harvest Seed Club package and see what we got here. So I did open this yesterday because I couldn't wait. And there was one thing that we got, and you're probably going to laugh. We got a stick. Just kidding. This is a cutting. This is a chaya cutting, which is called a tree spinach. So she sent us a little plant. So we just have to keep that moist in some soil, and within not too long, it will sprout leaves and we will have a never-ending supply of spinach. Yep, that's right. This guy right here is a perennial. And you can even see from the cutting that the top of it is still green. So it's good. So we have our chaya. What else do we have here? We have coreopsis, which is a very cool native Florida flower. And so this is a perennial flower. It does take a little while for the seeds to germinate. That's what Elise told us with the Urban Harvest. But it will be in your garden for a very long time. Now this guy is not edible. The next one we have is a couple different kinds of beans. So, oh, by the way, she gives us these little cards. They're little informational cards. When you join the seed club, she'll send you the packet of seeds along with these informational cards. And she also does a video that walks through everything you need to know about growing these things. So the next thing we got was a bean blend, I guess, and she includes inoculant with it. And this bean blend has python and red noodle. So in both of these have two different kinds of long beans, which are great to grow during our summer. This one I'm super excited about, which is sesame. We can grow sesame. And from what I understand, it has a very long growing season. So we're probably one of the few that can grow it. Shurnami spinach. This is one of those tropical greens that we were talking about earlier. So you definitely want to get into some tropical greens. Another one that's going to sound familiar, amaranth, particularly the Chinese multicolor amaranth. So excited about that. An old-time favorite, I actually have some right over there, which is cranberry hibiscus, not to be confused with roselle. So these are two different plants. Cranberry hibiscus, you eat the leaves, and it's a red leaf that tastes citrusy. It's actually really, really good. And then an eggplant, another one from our list called Rosa Bianca, which absolutely looks so adorable. It's like a purplish pink eggplant, and it's super, super cute. I'm very excited about growing that one. And then last but not least, we have our sugar baby watermelons. Now I've grown a ton of these, so I'm probably not going to grow this one this year because I have six or seven different watermelons that I'm growing this year. And so I don't necessarily have any more room for another watermelon variety, but it's a great one to grow down here in our Florida weather. So that was our haul from our seed club, the Urban Harvest. Now let's discuss projects for the month. Since it's getting pretty hot, I do as little as possible in the garden this time of year. But I do have a few things I need to get done. I had a great opportunity to hang out with Pete from greendreamsfl.com for an entire afternoon talking about fruit trees. Pete stuffed my husband and I full of mulberries, loquats, and Java Takabas. I never know if I'm pronouncing that right. It was awesome, and I ended up coming home with 8 new plants, 6 of which are fruit trees. So I needed to get these guys planted in the yard ASAP. This will give them plenty of time to get established before the winter season rolls back around. This is important because the earlier you can get fruit trees planted before cold temperatures come, the better they will do. Some fruit trees don't care about cold temperatures, but there are a lot more that do. If you are planning on getting some new fruit trees or bushes, do that now and get them in the ground or in a really good sized pot. Make sure you check out greendreamsflorida.com if you want to see what plants Pete has at his nursery. He ships his trees, so you should be able to have them sent to you anywhere here in Florida. This is also a great time to plant any perennials that you want to put in the ground. It was a goal for my spring season to put in a Florida native garden in my front yard. I've purchased and germinated several native perennial plants, so it's time to get those guys in the ground. I'll be pulling out several of my common landscaping plants in my front yard and replacing them with all of these. I did do a test with blanket flowers to ensure that they get enough sun out there, and they are doing wonderful. To my surprise, I found out that blanket flowers were just deemed not truly a native, but they have been around a long time here, so I'm going to go ahead and proceed with those. And when it comes time to replace them, I'll probably replace them with the Coreopsis that Elise sent me from the Urban Harvest. Now we have come to the best part of the video, which is the special tip and seed giveaway. Last month we started our sweet potato slips, and look how much they've grown. Some of these, like these guys right here, could be planted immediately, but I'm gonna give all of these guys another couple weeks. Right now I just don't have bed space open, so I'm hoping they hold out just a little bit longer. These will keep producing slips for many weeks. I'll be breaking them off once they reach about that 6 to 12 inches. Then I put them in water for 2 or 3 days until I can see some roots forming. At that point, they're ready to be planted into the beds. I want to share with you something I have learned about sweet potatoes. They love crappy dirt. So normally what I would do is plant them in beds where I'm struggling with soil life. Maybe the soil is hydrophobic or just not that fertile. Then I plant the entire bed with sweet potatoes. 1 slip per square foot. So one of these beds, which is an 8 by 4 foot bed, would need 32 slips. By the time these are ready to harvest, the sweet potatoes will have improved the soil. The roots kind of bring in the worms and all kinds of bugs, which helps with soil life. Then the leaves cover the entire soil, which helps reduce the weeds, and it protects the soil from the heat. By the time you pull these guys up, your bad soil will be suddenly dark and rich. It's shocking.